Good morning.
صباح
Assalamu
الخير.
alaikum.
السلام
Lovely to see you all
عليكم.
here.
رائع أن
This is
نراكم
day 2.
جميعا
I'm
هنا.
at the trainer.
هذا
This
هو
is
اليوم
John
الثاني.
Defterios. So it's great to be back here
إثن
with you.
ترينر
Thank you for
وهذا
showing up
جون
on
دفتريس.
time. This is
أشكركم
our
على
core group
الحضور.
here. The
هذا
focus,
هو
the
العمل
interest. We're
الرائع
absolutely thrilled that
اليوم
you've
وهذا
joined us. We
التركيز
have a
الذي
great day in
نراه
store.
أمامنا.
But John, we
نتمنى
had
أن
such
يكون لدينا
a
يوما
great day
رائعا.
yesterday. Really busy day. I hope you all were very engaged in terms of all of the rundown we had. John, you give us a bit of your perspective in terms of what you saw yesterday and what you heard.
Yeah, in fact, I think there's kind of two categories. Let's start first from the global mining companies that did make a presence here in a very large way. I have to say congratulations to His Excellency the Vice Minister and of course His Excellency Bandar Al-Khuraif, the Minister of Industry and Mineral Resources, because to have the Future Minerals Forum make such an impact in only year 2 is quite extraordinary. And the things I walked away from were really from the opening panel from the corporate sector. I thought it was extremely interesting with Mike Henry, for example, in the fireside chat, was talking about how do you deal with ESG? It's not just a moniker, but if you're not careful, because the regulations in Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and the United States being very different, it's a heavier drag on future investment, which I thought was interesting. We heard from Dominic Barton from Rio Tinto.
Yes.
I thought what he said about having the industry come away from the shadows, which is really important, come out of the shadows and say, what is the role of mining, scope 1, 2, and 3, the measurements you want to be able to use, but the link between the mining industry and having the energy transition. Jeremy Weir from Trafigura, it's fascinating to see them working with Ma'aden and Amak and off-taking the minerals that we have in the kingdom already. That is only going to grow. But to have the major mining companies here observing what's happening in the kingdom and saying these are the things we're going to partner with, but these are the global themes and challenges for us to continue to invest, not only in the kingdom, but to invest elsewhere because, and it was interesting, Jeff Curry today, when I was looking at Bloomberg while working out, he said copper is the new oil. You know, it says it in a phrase, yes. Doesn't it? It says it in the phrase because we don't have enough supplies, and those in the mining industry see the bottlenecks. Is that the case outside this tent of the Future Minerals Forum? Is the same conversation taking place?
And very warm welcome. The boss has joined us. His Excellency Al-Khuraif is here. Lovely to see you. Non-stop, busy day for you. Busy year for you. Busy.
That's the brains behind the FMF.
Busy season for you. I think any hope you had of things slowing down.
Yeah,
it's finished. Oh, forgive me.
Khaled Al-Mutaitas.
I'm not awake here at the moment. Our friend, the Vice Minister here, forgive me. Your Excellency Khaled, thank you so much. All of the ministers and all the ministries were here yesterday, and I think that was also very important, I think, as well, because everybody was so aligned. I think we had it coming from His Royal Highness, and then, of course, all of the ministries. I think that was so important. Industry, finance. What did you feel?
Well, I completely agree with you. I think it started from the very beginning with His Excellency Bandar Al-Khuraif, who, the one that stood out for me was the whole issue of trust. So if you have trust in what we're doing on the policy apparatus, it's almost like the movie Build It and It Will Come. If you build the field, the players will come. That's what we're talking about here in the kingdom. If you put in the right policies, the mining law, which was debated with the CEOs, I thought was interesting. His Excellency Khaled Al-Faleh, I thought, said we are the enabler through the Ministry of Investment in collaboration with the Ministry of Industry and Mining Resources. And his other phrase, we're the safety valve for energy. And it wasn't just for oil and gas, but the full supply chain, the move into hydrogen, the role of mineral resources in that. Mohammed Al-Jadaan, I thought, said something extremely prescient yesterday when he said, we're not out to extract every penny from the global mining companies. We're using the mining industry to actually grow our economy. So we want to strike a balance between the two. And I think you're correct in singling out His Royal Highness, Prince Abdulaziz. Number one, he talked about the diversity into the renewable space and the role of mining into that space. And when he talked about uranium, I had a few people come up and say, did I hear him correctly? That the discoveries of uranium are coming onto the market. We plan to do it in the safest way possible, in global recognition, but we are going to fuel the nuclear industry with the uranium supplies. That's a lot of news from day one.
Yes.
And that's just the highlights, I think, right?
And I think, I think the market's very excited about it. But one of the other things I heard from so many people here was, and you had mentioned it with the CEOs of the big major companies, we also talked to some of the junior companies and also, talked to the financiers who were here too. And really looking, I suppose, at the lack of financing, or better still, the potential for more financing and for better financing in this industry.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because this morning on the panel I'm going to be doing, we're going to look at the Kingdom's roadmap. We have His Highness Prince Sultan, who's going to join us from SIDF. We have the Exim Bank of Saudi Arabia, its role, and the Deputy Minister of Economy and Planning, looking at how we can learn from the legacy of the other players, the other countries of the world, and getting the roadmap right in the kingdom. So that's a good panel that we're going to be doing. Don Sadoway is going to be from MIT, looking at the future of minerals and where inventions and breakthroughs will be coming over the next 5 to 10 years, and some lessons that he's learned as an inventor of the new technologies. What should we watch out for in mining?
Yeah, so much happening today, and I know our panel is waiting in the wings here, but just to let you know, we're going to be looking at investment, the new energy metals, hydrogen, supply chain, focus on trade, diversity, downstream, and of course, really looking to the future of what's happening here in the kingdom and indeed for the rest of the mining community. So it's another exciting day. So once again, to the Deputy Minister, thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. And I think we're probably ready to get started, John. What do you think?
I'm leaving that to you.
So our first panel, we're going to be looking at, and we've heard about it earlier, it's not just about mining, it's not just about growing the industry, it's also about economic development and community building. So I want to welcome now the Director for the Materials Efficiency Research Group, who is joining us here with his panel right now. Alan Young is with us. Alan, we'll give it to you. We'll go this way, John.